Welcome back to the bench. As you can see, today we do not have a computer on the bench. Well, not in the traditional sense. I suppose you could class this as a computer because it does have RAM, CPU, even as a floppy drive. This is a Roland S-50 digital sampling keyboard, and yeah, I think this thing's like 20 odd years old. The unit worked fine with the exception of its floppy drive. So that's why it's on the bench today, and it's going to get an upgrade to a Gotek. So first of all then we need to crack this thing open. There's a couple of screws in each side panel which come off, and there's also a series of screws along the back that need to be removed. And then the thing's on hinges, so it just hinges up. So without further ado, let's get some of these screws out. I've also set up a second cam for a long shot, because obviously here you're not really going to get to see a huge amount. Yeah, so let's get taking out some of these screws. So there's about half a dozen screws at the back that need to be removed. Should just be a simple job of lifting it up. In theory, the floppy drive in this should just be the equivalent of a standard PC 1.44 meg floppy, as far as I can recollect. So the Gotek should just be a straight drop-in because it's already configured to work as a PC floppy drive. So apologies, the audio is a bit strange on this one because obviously I'm moving around, I'm not sitting down as I usually do. So that should be all our screws out, and these are clipped in. So that's it. I think you just slide them up a little bit. At least that's what he said. Or is there another screw under here? Yeah, there's another screw at the back end here. So there's 3 screws in each end. Okay, and that just slides in, nice and easy. Okay, yeah, and there's obviously a couple more screws in here that we have to take out. That then will allow the keyboard to hinge up. Have to make sure we remember that the screws that hold the end plate on are machine screws, whereas the others aren't. Nice and easy as well. 2 more screws at the end here. I'm not sure if there's any screws on the front edge. I don't think so. I think that should be it. It should just hinge up now. But we can always check. There may be some screws on the bottom we need to take out, I'm guessing. Probably these big ass ones here, maybe. Can't think that these smaller screws would be holding anything in. the money with these. Not sure if it's just the first row we have to take out or all of them. I guess we'll find out if she comes off easily now or whether she's still... No, it's starting to move, so I'm guessing these other big ones have to come out as well. Getting in the way of the microphone, what little hair I have. A lot of screws to take out just to get one floppy drive. So in theory this should just hinge up now. In theory. In practice, not so much. Unless there's some... Ah, there's another screw there. Maybe these two have to come out as well. Maybe those bottom screws I didn't have to take out. Let's see, these ones sneakily hiding there. Somebody's sitting there screaming at the video, "You've forgotten to at the end." Right, will she lift up? Nope, she's still pretty solid. So, does that mean we... Oh, there we go. Okay, so the keyboard doesn't lift up. So, yeah. Those big screws we didn't need to take out. Bummer. Okay, so there's our input. Looks like a big old rectifier on there. Yep. Tonkin. Roland branded motherboard. For some reason the fuse seems to be on its own little plug-in board. Strange. Maybe I can go freehand and do some handheld stuff with the small camera afterwards and then edit it in later. Okay, so here's our power supply board and all our voltage regulators on it. Okay, so no, that's not going to be of course that's not going to be a rectifier because it's on the input side. That's just going to be a suppression choke. Here's our bridge rectifier. It looks tiny when you look at the size of this thing. So there we've got 7815, 7915, so that's our plus and minus 15. And then we've got a 7805, and then this big ass here, which is probably going to be a large series pass transistor. And this is also probably going to be, that's another bridge rectifier. So there are two bridge rectifiers. So this is the main bridge rectifier, and that's probably a smaller one for whatever, maybe just for the control logic, and this is for something else. Okay, so we have our main processor board here. We've got our ROMs. Here's our floppy drive cable. WD1772 WDC. So that's our floppy drive controller IC, and yeah, if you're familiar with 8-bit computers like the BBC Micro in particular, and that used a few different floppy drive controllers. So 1770, 1772 and 8271 were the main ones. Okay, there is a Roland custom chip here. Got a couple of NIC jobbies, 43256C, so they're probably going to be SRAMs, I'm guessing. This looks like our main CPU, which is a C8095-90, and it's Intel and date code of 1992. Okay, so we've got a lot of hair in the mechanism. So that's to be expected with something this old. It's probably been used a lot. We've got a shitload of zip RAM by the looks of it. Old school zip RAM. Some more Roland custom. TMS 3556. That's probably going to be some kind of audio processor. And we've got some kind of bodge here. So let's see if we can just move this and get a close-up of some of this stuff. So here is our main input section. I don't know how well this is going to come out later because it's going to be probably shaky as hell. It might be a bit too close. So there's our floppy drive controller, EEPROMs, SRAM. That's probably going to be the synth chip. Maybe that and that, or a combination of both. There's another Roland jobby here. All our memory. Some custom hybrid there, and let's see what some of these chips are. Some Jelly Bean 4051s, another Roland branded chip there, some JRC, good old Japan radio card, some Sharp Mitsubishis. There's a whole eclectic mix of chips in this thing. Looks like TMS. So we've got some TMS 4464. Is that an S or a DRAM? 4464-15. I'd like to say it's a DRAM, but it might be an SRAM. I would have to look up on the data sheet. Our main crystals here. So it's pretty clean and tidy inside. The control board is there. And what's this? Our dial. So these screws on the end here I didn't need to take out, and half dozen from the bottom, the big ass ones, I didn't need to take them out either. Which is a bit of a bummer, but you know. It's the first time I've ever dismantled one of these things. So yeah. I didn't really know what to expect. So I'll have to be quick because on this small camera it's not got a lot of recording time on it. Okay, so I probably did have to remove these screws here because obviously that's holding in the part of the casing for the floppy drive controller. And this is a bit of a nice touch. They actually included a cable there to make sure that this wouldn't go back too far when it was opened. So let's see if we can just get this open. And okay, there are no screws on here. So how does our floppy drive mechanism detach? Because there is one screw here. Oh, that's interesting. It's actually not so much of a screw, but there's a flathead bolt. So it's just a peg at the bottom. So yeah, we need to get down there with a pair along those pliers and undo that bolt, which we might hopefully release the floppy drive tray. It's of course been stuck on with some kind of Loctite. Let's get the floppy drive power out of the way first. Floppy drive's just going to be some kind of off-the-shelf, maybe Sony, like a NEC drive or Epson, whatever Roland was using back in the day. It's just going to be a standard PC one. Whole mechanism's going to pop out now. We just need to take the screw out that's holding this cable tie in. The smaller drive, and no, this one will do the job. Okay. Hopefully there's nothing here. Yeah, that just slides backwards. And yeah, here is our floppy drive enclosure, so let's get our cable out. Okay. Okay, it's a Toshiba floppy drive. It's got a bit of custom metalwork on the bottom, but other than that, it looks like a pretty bog standard drive. There's a number of screws here, two there, for the dust. We'll give her a bit of a cleaning before reassembling her. Treat the old girl for a bit of a wash. The main task for the moment is just get this old floppy drive out. Okay, will she just slide out now? Yep. Okay, so there's more metalwork here, so looks like they went a bit OTT on the old RF shielding there. Apparently this floppy drive gave up the ghost ages ago, but chances are there's probably not a lot wrong with it. I mean, we can get it on the bench at a later date and give her a good testing, but I suspect she probably just needs a good cleaning, like a lot of these old drives do at this time in their life. Okay, so that's the back plate off. And yeah, as you can see, this is just literally a bog standard PC drive. And yeah, it's the FDD 4261A0K, made in Japan. All the good stuff's made in Japan. Looks like it's had a bit of custom rubber on the bottom. Save that, because yeah, that's probably acting as a just a filler, because obviously the drive is probably too large or too small for the opening. The opening was probably a little bit larger. Maybe it was originally designed for a different type of drive. Let's take a quick look at the heads. It don't look too bad. We can yeah, get her cleaned up later. Get some new grease on her. Seems to turn. Her heads are moving, but yeah, there is a little bit of grease left in there, but it's pretty dry, so it could be just that. Yeah, the heads down there look a bit grubby. So yeah, it could just be dirty, or it could just be bad alignment. You know, it's one over alignment, and yeah, the heads need realigned. Okay, so here is our Gotek. It should be the exact same height, yep, as our original drive. And so ordered the black one, which is always good, because yeah, no good putting in a beige coloured one, would there? And that should pretty much just drop into here as a direct replacement. If that was the right way. That's upside down. See? No. Back to front. That's the front of the casing, not that. So that would have gone in like that. So the drive needs to go in this way. Oops, our metal dropped out. Now, are the mounting holes going to be? They should be in the same place. But obviously we're going to have to find some different screws because the ones that held on the previous drive, yeah, were obviously metal machine screws, and these need some kind of something with a coarser thread that'll hold the plastic in. So I am going to have to go and find that, and then once I find the right screws we can get to reassembling her. So I will cut the video now, and so I can go off and look for those screws, and then we will continue. And we can get our Gotek installed. One thing to note when working on these keyboards is yeah, this power transformer here has got bare wires, bare mains wires, so yeah, trap for young players there, as Dave Jones would say. Make sure you don't give yourself a belt. Okay. Put that down there. Okay, it's in there nice and firmly. We have our screws. I'm going to put this nut on it. And this has to come with a ground wire, which I'm not going to put back on because, yeah, it's all plastic now. So I don't want to leave it flapping around in the breeze. So I will just give it back to the owner along with the now obsolete floppy drive. Just give that a bit of a quick tighten. I don't think it's going to come out, but you know, well, might as well make sure it's tight. It's not going to go anywhere now. Stick that back down there. Okay, so now we can start to screw this thing back together. And once we've done that, jobs are good now. Okay, time to plug the power in and see if she still chooches. I've already preloaded this flash drive with the boot disk, because this thing you actually have to load the operating system every time you start it up, which is fantastic. So let's see. Yep, and then we can see on the screen S-50 system version 2, and that's freely available on Roland's website, which is where I got it from, because obviously this didn't come with the original discs. It wouldn't have made any difference anyway because the disk drive was knackered, so chances are that any discs were also knackered. And we're saying now loading. Okay, I've also got my speaker, my power switch, one of my studio monitors hooked up so we can hear the sound. And it gives you a nice little countdown there. Now I've got this running with a composite signal because it has composite out as well as RGB. I don't have the RGB cable for this, so I just use the composite. Okay, and let's try it.
Rest in the system.
Ooh, that sounds good. Very stimulating. Okay, so this has automatically loaded the system disk, and it's automatically loaded a sample. Sounds like a car alarm. Okay, that's interesting, because how did it load the operating system if it's already on the disk? Maybe it can search the flash drive for the operating system and load it automatically. Don't know what that's supposed to be there. This sample is called Bizarre Stuff. It certainly is bizarre. I like this one though. And this one.
Rest in the system.
That sounds pretty cool. Okay, so that's our Roland S-50 digital sampling keyboard reassembled. Like you could do with a bit of TLC, a bit of a cleaning. It's a bit grubby, but yeah, that's not my job to do. The guy that owns it, that I was fitting this Gotek drive for, can go there and do that himself. I'll just pick up the other camera and just give you a quick show of the Gotek drive. Not that you don't know what one looks like already, but you know. So yeah, he ordered a black. I got to order the black one, obviously, because obviously if you get the beige one, it's going to look odd sticking in there. Okay, and there's no point doing the rotary encoder mod on this or the small OLED, because at the end of the day, he's just going to be loading the operating system plus the occasional disk, and then it'll be a case of he'll use those. Lost in the system, or last of the system?
Rest in the system.
Lost in the system.
Rest in the system.
Oh, that's very high.
Rest in the system.
That's a pretty good sample. Anyway, if you like this video, then give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do, give me a thumbs down. And yeah, leave us a comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all the usual gubbins. As always, thank you for watching.